Hello, hello. I am Lauren and I am a sound healing doula. Now, in today's chat, I want to talk about a very interesting inner child thought that I had, and I actually held on to this one for a while, and the way that I held on to it and like the reason behind it meant that I was very scared to ask for help. So the thought is, I don't listen, or you don't listen. And this was something that I often had in childhood because I would often just gaze off into the distance because I was typically daydreaming, or I was just thinking about the world literally being anything else apart from what I was experiencing at the time. And I feel that this is incredibly powerful because of the way that things have unfolded in my life. So the whole thing about not listening is a very one-sided approach, and I feel like it's a very 2D way of looking at things. Now, as somebody who is very intuitive, now I can say that as I've been able to heal different parts of me, and I'm still on this journey to healing, I don't want to allow this to come across as like my healing journey is finished and this is what I've learned. I'm still healing, and I want to reiterate as many times as I need to that two things can be right at once, because I can still give insight while healing other parts of me, and that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to share the things that I've learned, because I feel like they are very, very interesting, and somebody else out there could be in a place where they don't feel like they want to they don't feel like they know what the next step is. So here, like, maybe this is the insight that you need to help you with figuring out what to do next. So with the idea of me not listening, it was less of me not listening and more of me displaying my upset at me attempting to communicate with you, or communicate with whoever it was that was trying to explain something to me. I didn't understand it, but I didn't have the energy reserves to keep on saying, I don't understand. Like, I feel like at a certain point during my childhood, I got fed up of trying to over-explain and trying to get to a point to where I feel like I'm being understood, because I was like, this conversation is pointless. I am not getting what I need out of it. So outside of me trying to run out of the place, or just run away from this conversation, I am going to do the next best thing. And the next best thing that I can come up with in my creative teeny tiny brain is to daydream, because that was something that others could see visually as to where I was not listening to what they were saying, because it was a way for me to communicate to them that things somewhere along the line need to change. And for me, I feel like there was a lot of times where, especially adults, felt like they could say whatever they wanted to me. And this was something where, like, even if I did say something, it wasn't fully, it wasn't like listened to in its entirety, or I would get cut off, I would get interrupted with what I was saying. And there was another layer to this where it would be like I would just get completely ignored, and I was like, okay, fine, if you are not willing to listen, or if you're not willing to listen to me, I don't feel like I should listen to you. And I was quite stubborn as a child, and I feel like some of that has filtered into my adulthood, but now it has turned into me exercising boundaries. Like, it's not just me not listening because I don't want to. Like, there is an element of that which is like there's a boundary there, because if I feel like the communication aspect, which is quite a simple thing, or if there are specific basic questions, or what I perceive as basic questions, like how are you, or how can I accommodate you, is everything okay, like these are not what I believe to be overly complicated questions. And what these questions do in my brain is they simply show that you are willing to hear a different point of view from your own, while also holding space for the other person to validate their feelings in that moment. And even if you don't understand them in that moment, like you don't understand what's going on, those simple questions, or those very open-ended questions, are there to demonstrate that. And as I have been sort of navigating language, understanding it, and mastering how it works and stuff, because I love it, I'm a word nerd, it's what I do. Having things like books to add life into it and bring it to life with my own very vivid imagination, I learned from a very young age to remove myself from situations in the best way that I knew how, and to fill my space, my like physical space and emotional space, with things that would allow me to express myself, and then to also have the space to be who I wanted to be without restriction. Like, there was a time where I was able to really come into my own and decide, okay, what is it that I want to think about today? Where do I want to go on this like creative writing adventure? But I would first of all really visualize it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I don't listen, but there's a reason beyond that. And I feel like for ages I felt like there was something wrong with me, and it's not that. It's just that I have different skills that now have allowed me. It's like I've always been listening. Like, it's not like I can't actively listen, because when somebody is able to show that they want to include me in the conversation, I'm actively listening. I'm taking notes. I am looking at your facial expressions. I am building up a full on profile about who you are, how you're doing, what happened in your past life. Like, there's so many things that I'm now as an adult able to do because I had that coping skill of like removing myself from the situation where I wasn't celebrated, or I was almost just told in not so many words that I'm rude, I'm a really bad listener, and it's far from that. And as an adult who's healing, I feel like when it comes to accommodations, it needs to be something that is more widely celebrated, especially when it comes directly from a child, or like that inner child voice. If there is something that you are not happy with, or something that you feel like would make you feel safer, having the confidence to actually say like, hey, could you maybe like rephrase that, or is it okay if I have a little bit more time to complete the thing that you said, or can I have some help, please? That can be quite difficult, but I feel like there does need to be more ways in which this is sort of approached by people in a certain age bracket. Now, I will say that with a lot of this, like a lot of these instances where in my childhood, and like just reflecting on this inner child thought of me not listening, I built up this resistance to like listening to other people when I was in that stage of being in that space of being overly reactionary and just being like on the attack all the time. But then when I was able to realize that my breath in these situations is wasted. I could go and do something that is better suited to who I am and that actually helps me process what it is that I'm doing. I feel a lot better. And to my inner child, I do want to say that I am so happy that I was able to put my foot down where I needed to, because it made things a lot easier as I grew up. And having boundaries is not a bad thing, and creating spaces that are safe enough for you to actually listen and process what it is that you've gone through. It's perfect. It's an accommodation that should be honored, and I'm excited that I'm in the process of building that for not only myself but other people. So if you are somebody who struggles to listen, or that was feedback that you received growing up in school reports or something, try to see if there are any ways that you have been silenced. So whether it be in ways where you've tried to be creative, or you've tried to have input and it's just been ignored, if you have been interrupted or told to shush a whole bunch of times and it really doesn't work out, and you feel like the thing that you wanted to say was really, really important, that in itself is important to reflect on. Because if you are unable to talk about something, or if you're unable to create something that you feel like you want to put out into the world, however it looks, that is repressing an emotion, and like you're pushing that down. That's something that wants to be expressed, and you are just leaving it inside your body. So over time there could be feelings of regret that you weren't able to share that in the moment that you shared it. So I am here to help you rediscover that inner artist. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today and hearing me talk to you about that particular inner child thought. If you feel like this is something that you have experienced, I would love to know what your experience was in the comment section. If you would like to work with me, I have all of my information in the description, and I hope that you have a gentle day, and I will see you in the next one.